Thank you very much, Senator Collins. I'm pleased to be here as co-chair of the Diabetes Caucus, of course, to join my friend and neighbor, Susan Collins, and JDRF, Dr. Orzag, and of course, Caitlin, in talking about why we need to move on the development of the artificial pancreas. We're here to call on FDA to issue clear and reasonable guidance on the development of an artificial pancreas. The artificial pancreas has the potential to fundamentally improve the quality of life for millions of men, women, and children living with type 1 diabetes. I had a visit a couple of weeks ago in New Hampshire from a group of advocates with JDRF. And they were talking about their frustration with the time it has taken to move the artificial pancreas at FDA. And they said, you know, maybe it's because we all look so healthy. People look at us and they don't know that there's anything wrong, that we have this disease. Sadly, too often we fail to recognize the urgency of addressing type 1 diabetes. And there is real urgency. Cynthia, I don't know if you're going to talk about the ad that's running in the New York Times and the Washington Post today that says that 1 in 20 people with type 1 diabetes will die from low blood sugar. But I had a family visit me last year. It was a family from Freiburg, Maine, who the woman worked in North Conway, New Hampshire. They're communities that are on the border. And they brought me a book that was written about their daughter, Miranda Levitt. And it's about what Miranda experienced living with type 1 diabetes. A lot of the things that Caitlin was so eloquent in talking about earlier. Sadly, they lost Miranda when she was 23 due to complications from type 1 diabetes. So we're here to say that there is urgency, FDA and NIH, about addressing this disease. We need to see the development of the artificial pancreas move forward. We need to see that clear guidance so that all of those who are working in this field, all of the researchers, all the doctors, all of the families who are waiting know what's going to happen. I admit that I have a personal stake in this fight because my oldest granddaughter, Ellie, who is now 12, about your age, Caitlin, was diagnosed 4 years ago with type 1 diabetes. So I get to see firsthand all of the complications and all of the challenges of living with this disease that Caitlin talked about. I get to see the impact, not just on Ellie, but on her family. I hear the stories from my daughter who tells me that some nights she'll wake up at 3 in the morning and for some reason she'll feel like she's just got to go in and test Ellie one more time in the middle of the night. And thank goodness she did, because she had low blood sugar and she could have gone into a coma. So this is not something we can wait on. With artificial pancreas technology, the disruptive and uncomfortable regimen that Caitlin talked about, that I see my granddaughter and her family living with every day, that can be addressed. It can be managed in a way that makes a real difference. By combining components that already exist, insulin pumps and continuous glucose monitors, the artificial pancreas can control blood sugar levels automatically. And this would change the lives of so many men, women, and children who are living with type 1 diabetes. Senator Collins talked about the hearing that she chaired this summer at the JDRF Children's Congress. And one of the young women who spoke at that hearing was a young girl named Carrie Morgan from Glen Allen, Virginia. And she talked about her experience being part of a pilot program where she was actually on an artificial pancreas. And I just want to quote a little bit from what she said. She said, "First, I'm going to say it's awesome, so keep that in mind. And it, being an artificial pancreas, were so different than just living every day with diabetes, because for that time, I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to think about it. For 2 days, I had perfect control of my blood sugar levels. 2 days of living with this technology provided me with a vision of what life could be like. Life with far less complications, both short and long term. Creation of an artificial pancreas is within reach. I know it. I've been part of it, and I will do all I can to get it into the hands of people living with the disease. And she concludes by saying, and so on the day the artificial pancreas is finally approved and released, people with this disease can say, diabetes, there's an app for that. Well, it's time now for us to get this device into the hands of all of those living with type 1 diabetes. So today, like everyone else at this press conference, I call on the FDA to make good on that promise that they gave us at the Children's Congress, that by December 1st, they were going to issue guidance that we need to move on the development of an artificial pancreas. Thank you.